a lot of people don't appreciate, especially people outside China, don't appreciate how cool-headed the central leadership has been in China. I mean, a lot of times the people are actually, when you say things like that to the Chinese people, first of all, we are shocked. Are we? Oh, we are a threat? To whom? Because
we're
of what?
evil? We're a threat? That's right.
To what? I'm just living my life.
What are they talking about?
I know, and they tell us you guys are oppressed. I'm like, huh? Really?
The government. I am? Really?
Flourishing
right,
here.
Thank you. I'm like, you're oppressed? What?
What do you mean? Right.
This
and
is
then,
exactly it.
After a lot of that, some people will get angry. Some people, we don't like people telling us this, but we appreciate the fact that the central leadership, of the country, they don't get, how do you say, shifted, or they're not as... They don't become what's called hawkish, which means they don't threaten war.
I'm not sure what it means.
Hawkish.
I think they don't react. They're not reactionary to Western propaganda.
Yes.
Like they don't
take the bait.
Exactly. They have the confidence,
self-control.
The composure, and just so poised and cool-headed. Because if I make the call, or if some other groups of more people with more feverish temperatures or more feverish temperament make the choices, maybe bad things would have happened, right? But thinking back, I really appreciate how cool and composed the central leadership has been. So.
I want to, you do a lot
but don't push us too far.
You do a lot of media commentary, and so I was wondering if you could, because there are a lot of different perceptions in our country, in America, about China, and I was wondering if you could comment on the how you see China represented in America to Americans versus life in China. What's it actually like?
Yeah, and that difference is, as we're already indicating by what we're saying.
Even in the field of China experts, people who claim to be experts, but then is their expertise representative of what life is like in China?
No, there's really not. And this is the problem. I read things written by very intelligent, even well-intended people. They're not necessarily anti-China. And I read what they write about China, and I just go, I'm just like, they don't know. And they write it because they're intellectual. You are under the impression they have credibility. So you would think, this is a credible guy, and they're writing this paper, and they're an intellectual and smart person, and they have 2 MBAs, and they're in this position and that, but you read it, and so you think, but Jason, it's just completely off. It's so wrong. Whatever it is they're writing, their perception, their idea of, and they've done this with the 20th Congress last week, their perception and the way that they're writing about it has nothing to do with the reality of what you watched for 5 days, watching it yourself. Go, excuse me? What? President Xi's... I'm happy to inform you that President...
I couldn't believe that was an article.
President...
This was on CNN, where they're analyzing how much tea Xi Jinping is drinking instead of the content of his speech.
What? That's odd.
Yes.
Do you know that I did a live podcast with Alex over at iChongqing, which is another great news outlet, and I did a live podcast during Xi's speech with him. We were live during Xi's speech live. And so we made an effort to listen to what she was saying. And the phrase I used was, Xi's speech is wonderfully boring. He didn't say, which of course I don't mean it's boring. I'm meaning to say, he didn't say anything that surprised me. And that's good. That's a good thing, right? Everything that he said was a reflection of Xi and the government's understanding of where China has been, where China is now, and where China is going in the future. And he just laid it out. It was a pragmatic, clear. There was nothing overly flowery about it. It bordered on boring, and that's good, right?
Yeah.
It was repetitive, and that's a good thing, right? That was very good. So that's it. He just was like,
Right.
Yeah.
also, by the way, very highly self-reflective and self-critical. We have problems. We still have these problems. We are still committed to and are more than ever addressing these problems. Now, I don't know about you guys, but what more do you want from your government than that? I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that their job? I mean,
Right.
isn't that what they're supposed? That's what they're supposed to do. And then you get the Western reading of what she said. Oh my God! And you read and you go, what? What? The CNN headline was, "Xi's speech focused." This was the CNN headline immediately after Xi's speech. I screenshotted it and wrote an article about it because I was like, what? Xi's speech focuses on Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the pandemic. That was the headline on CNN immediately after Xi's speech. I was like refreshing the page going, what speech did they listen to? Because my response was, okay, it was well over an hour. At the time, I thought it was maybe about an hour, but it seems like the speech was even close to 2 hours. In the period of over close to 2 hours, call it an hour and a half, in the period of a whole 90-minute speech, he didn't say more than 5 sentences about Hong Kong. He said what he said about Hong Kong was like 5 sentences. What he said about Hong Kong was like 5 sentences. And what he said about the pandemic was, I think, even only like 4 sentences or 3 sentences. He didn't say anything hardly at all about them. He said, we will reunify with Taiwan. This is why nothing's changed. And then he went on to the next subject. That's all he said about Taiwan.
Yeah.
Same thing with the pandemic. We have succeeded at protecting people's health. We will continue adjusting zero COVID to do our best to protect people's health while not impacting the economy. That's all he said. And he went on to the next subject. So out of 90 minutes, that's all the man said. Right? And then CNN says, he focused on those topics for 90 minutes. No.
That's
no,
so
no,
odd.
no. He focused on, it's so odd. It's so weird. But that's what Western media does. They distort China. They distort China. And then they open the top of the American people's heads and they pour the crap in. That's what they do.